Good morning, guys. The Blogging Buddhist here, coming to you from my driveway of all places. It's a beautiful, crisp, clear Saskatchewan morning, and since I haven't made a video for you guys in quite a long time, I decided that I would put out a post about the punching bag I just purchased, different punching surfaces, and how they relate and their benefits, their pros and cons, things of that sort. But before I do that, if you enjoyed the content that you watched here today, make sure to mash that like button really hard and click the follow and subscribe button so that you can be part of my channel and not miss any of the hopefully frequent additional materials that I'll be putting out on video in the months to come. So, if you follow my blog, and if you don't, by the way, go like and follow my blog, you'll have seen a post where I talk about having purchased a punching bag. So here's the beast. Now, a punching bag, and I think that most of my martial arts counterparts that are watching this, and people who train in general, would agree that a punching bag is an integral piece of training equipment for any martial artist. Even if you don't do martial arts, it's still an exceptional piece of equipment to train with. And as you can see, the bag I've got here, there's a steel floor mounted stand. This is because my basement is still unfinished and this garage is quite old, and these cross beams are not going to hold an 80-pound bag if it happens to be hanging, and I'm pounding on it continuously. So luckily I was able to find this stand at a local retailer. It took me about a half hour to put together and just fasten with all the bolts and stuff. Now, the only disadvantage of it is that it moves around a fair bit. Like as you punch the bag and stuff, it tends to slide around on the concrete a bit, which is what those pegs are for. You're supposed to put some weight plates on it. But anyways, if you see all the filthy footprints at the bottom, that's my son Nathan. He's been using the punching bag a lot as well. So you guys may be aware, I've written about it in previous posts. I have the punch pad that's mounted on the wall. So honestly, if I already had the punch pad, what do I need the punching bag for? Well, here's the thing. The punching bag simulates the weight and the resistance and almost I would say the mannerisms of the human body. So when you punch a punching bag, you're getting that resistance, you're getting that weight. It's resisting you as you punch it, but it moves a bit. And that's important because I don't know any human being that's just going to stand there and let themselves get punched or kicked. Humans move, so it's important to train using a training tool that will move with you as you punch it. It forces you to move as well. It forces you to readjust your stance. It forces you to adjust your angle of attack and how you punch. And what's good about the punching bag is you've got the surface all the way around. So why that's important is because you can practice different techniques, like your knife hand to the side of the neck, or your ridge hand, a bunch of different techniques that maybe you wouldn't necessarily be able to do on the punch pad. Now the punch pad is great because you still have the benefit of that padded surface, but there's no give, there's no resistance. It stays there, so it kind of works the muscles a bit more because now you've got that resistance against your arm. So it definitely helps to increase your punching strength. The only problem is you can't do a wide variety of punches. Like you can do your 4-fist punch, you can do, depending on what your style teaches you. I can also do my knife hand if I kind of stick myself against the wall and come at it from an angle. But besides that, and I was doing my roundhouse kick on this thing when I had it mounted downstairs when the basement was still assembled. But with everything I got in here, there's no room for me to position myself next to the wall properly. So no roundhouse kick on this thing. That, and it can't move. So now that it's mounted there, like unless I want to put in the time and the work to take the screws out and take the mount down and put it elsewhere, where you put it is pretty much where you put it. Whereas your punching bag is somewhat mobile, you can move it around and stuff. Now, I bought this for about $40 online. Not a big deal. It's an inexpensive way to build your punching strength and to practice your technique. This entire thing cost me close to $200. 100 and some for the stand and 100 and some for the punching bag, which nicely enough came with the punching bag gloves. It came with some hand wraps as well. So those are two different types of punching surfaces that you can use if you're studying karate. The next one, of course, is my makiwara. And coincidentally, I just took the plastic covering that I had on there for the winter. I just took that plastic covering off. So now the bare cord is showing again. Now, what's good with a makiwara is it helps you to build your punch strength. So depending on how you punch, it definitely helps to build your strength. It definitely teaches you bone alignment and how to punch properly, because if you punch crooked on this thing, you're gonna turn your wrist, you're gonna fracture your wrist, you're gonna damage yourself. So you really have to be careful when you're using this. The other problem too is if you're in the midst of a really fantastic workout where you're punching hard, you're punching fast, and you're really letting the punching bag have it, and then you come here and you're still in your groove and you try to punch this just as hard, you're likely going to injure yourself. So the Okinawans are big fans of this. Actually, they don't wrap it in cord. They don't usually have any supplementary padding. But it's a great training tool to help you strengthen your punches, ensure your proper bone alignment, and you can do your knife hands and your ridge hands and a couple of odds and ends like that. And if you want, and you're brave enough, you can start kicking at the bottom there and start working on your roundhouse kick if you're feeling brave enough to kick it. The big problem with it is because it is outside, because it has to be mounted in the ground. You can't move it around. Where it is where it stays. And of course, I've had it covered up and wrapped up all winter so that it doesn't rot and come apart, because eventually you know, the cord will rot away from winter snow and being wet all the time. So something that you got to watch out for. And all those steel bolts, I wrote a post about this as well. You guys can see it if you visit the actual blog website. But Nathan and I actually built this thing by hand. Drilled all the holes, put all the bolts in. It was about an hour or two's worth of work. Morning, Austin. So yeah, that's what it is. Now that the summer is hit, it's definitely important that you get outside and you get as much exercise as possible. It gives you a lot of flexibility in the kind of workouts you can do. And that's it. Those are my punching bags and my punching surfaces. The last point that I would bring up is the use of punch mitts or pads that a partner would hold for you. Those are great for target, not so much for technique or for strength, because as far as technique goes, let's be honest, depending on the partner you have and how they hold the mitts for you, you may not be executing your technique properly in order to hit your target. And the other problem is that after your first batch of 10, your partner will start to tire out, because you can't really hit full strength. Eventually, they start struggling against holding the mitts. Like their arms will get tired from having you punch them. So that's it, guys. I've rambled on long enough. I got to cut it short here. If you haven't done so already, make sure to click all those buttons so you're part of the channel, and be sure to visit my actual website in person at www.thebloggingbuddhist.com.